Hello, everybody. It's Graham Cofe with another My Music. Yes. Oh, a nice little wave there from my guest today, Kate Brunotts. Hello. How are you?
Hello. I am doing fabulous. Thank you for having me.
Oh, brilliant. Now, we've got a million questions for Kate, including who the dog is on the wall behind her. You will not find out unless you watch this video and then come back straight after this.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
There we go. Keep on, don't stop. Kate, are you keeping on? You're not stopping?
I'm trying my best. Yeah.
Fantastic. Have you had your food today? Have you had your nourishment?
I have had some nourishment. Yeah, I haven't
Okay,
quite
well,
made it to lunch yet, but
I'm worried about you. So I've got some superfood oat bites for you here, lemon and blueberry. Is that all right?
yum.
I'll just pass you one of
Please.
those. There
Oh,
you go.
good.
There we
Yum.
go.
Thank you so
There we
much.
go. Apparently they are high in fiber. They're full of rolled oats. So yeah, it should really keep you going.
Sounds hearty.
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you
Thank
big into your food?
Am I big into my food? Yes. Well, I guess I'm big on consuming. The creation aspect, I could use some pointers for sure.
Yeah.
Not a
I
great-
see from your Instagram that apart from making music, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Don't let me forget to ask about the dog in a minute as well. But you also DJ as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
bit of a new foray, but it's something that's always kind of been on my list. So over the past couple of months, I've been dabbling.
Dabbling. What made you sort of decide to start dabbling?
Well, I always have the inevitable like 3 p.m. dance party in this very kitchen behind me.
Do you? Yeah.
I do. It's part of my routine. And I
I
just
love that.
figured, wouldn't it be nice if I could capitalize on this? I'm just kidding. I feel like DJing is really cool. It feels like one of the purer things, I think, because you're really just showcasing other people's music, or that's the number one, I think, about it. And I think there's something really beautiful about that. And it's just, does the song make the people wiggle? And that's what it's all about, I think. So yeah.
I really loved it. I was in a band from age 14
Mhm.
and then had bands through like university and everything else and whatever. And then as I came home and I got into like doing work and stuff like that, the boring stuff, as I got into all of that sort of thing, and I no longer had the a band unit around me and the kind of social bit that goes with that,
Yeah.
etc. I met some people. I was doing some radio stuff and met some people through like festivals and whatever, and a group of them were like, we've started this club night in London and be cool to get you involved in it. And I was like, yeah, right.
Yes.
and I'd go to work during the day and I'd wear at the time I don't
hat.
ever wear a suit anymore. I hate them. But
I don't like the suit. Yeah.
oh, I'm so glad that culture's changed. But in the time,
It's
you
nice.
suit
Sure.
all day long and all of that. And I'd get to like Friday, and then we had a massive van at work, right? Or we had a set of vans because of what we were doing. And I had had lots of warehouse space and whatever at work as well. And
Oh, wow.
I got that van
Mhm.
and I filled it with gear, right? Because
Mhm.
I bought myself a 10K PA for anyone that
Oh,
realizes what that is. Yeah,
wow.
big,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Boom,
you were
boom, boom,
committed.
boom. I was
Yeah.
committed. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
had like all the laser lights and
Whoa.
all of that sort of thing.
So you were the
And
venue.
I was the kit in the venue and
Yeah.
drove to London on a Friday night, kipped down on someone's sofa, had a few hours sleep, got up, and then Saturday we'd do a little bit of clothes shopping, a little bit of record shopping, and then we'd set up the venue. And then Saturday night was party night in the venue.
Oh.
Big up to everyone that used to be involved in that. Down Charlotte Street, which is just off Tottenham Court Road in London, for anybody that knows it. And we'd have an absolute whale of a time. And then, in early hours of Saturday morning, I'd put all of it back in the van and then head on down I'd get as far as I could get before I had to fall asleep.
Gonna say that's incredible. What a magical part
It
you
was
had in building that scene,
great.
though. How
And
cool. Yeah.
and the amount of times this is going to get to people. The amount of times I slept on the top of the amps in the back of the van because they were still warm. Yeah.
And you were just tapped
So
out.
I literally just got a sleeping bag, sat
Oh
on the
my
top, lay
gosh.
down on the top of the amps, which was still emitting heat, and fell asleep for a couple of hours before someone came and knocked on the window and went, "You can't sleep there,
You
son.
gotta go. That's
gotta go."
incredible. Wow.
But I enjoyed it, and I for me, I get it, and I get musicians that want to DJ as well, because there's two parts to it, isn't there? There's the bit where, yes, you're just celebrating music, and actually you can play stuff that you wouldn't necessarily play as a musician.
Yeah, yeah, for
Right?
sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
your
definitely.
music's probably, is it sometimes quite different from what you DJ?
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah, right.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that bit where you can kind of celebrate another type of music that you wouldn't necessarily make.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really cool. But also, I think the kind of musicality bit comes into it as well. I think when you as a musician, you really quite enjoy
Putting them
not
together.
putting stuff together and just
Yeah.
getting creative with it. I loved all that.
Yeah. No, there's definitely something special there, and the reworking. And I think naturally, even before, learning the mechanics of it, you'll recognize like, oh, this melody seems like it was interpolated from this, or like this chord structure really sounds similar here. So getting to see it come to fruition is really, really rewarding.
Yeah. Has it actually started to impact on your music writing as well? Are you starting to pick out even more?
Yeah. Well, that's part of it too, is I really want to make great dance music, but I feel like I haven't immersed myself enough in the culture. So I don't know if I'm seeing that yet, but I'm certainly hoping that I can just kind of like learn by diffusion and seeing all those things. Cause I love, I feel like I make kind of sad music, but when I go to listen to music, 90% of the time it's like, let's have a party. So I definitely want to learn.
But I think those things can cross over really well, and I
For
think
sure.
I think there's a really good market for that at the moment. Are you aware of like artists like Romy, for example, from the XX?
No.
Oh, really?
Oh, well, I know the XX, but I don't know enough
Okay,
about like
so
the lore.
Romy, the female singer, and I think she plays bass mainly, doesn't she? Within
Okay.
the XX, yeah. But
Yeah.
she released her album Midair last year, and actually, if you if you watched her play that live, it was with her. She took a DJ friend with her. So what she'd be doing is she would be DJing to the crowd. So she would start. She'd have part of her set would be DJing, and then she'd do her vocal set, and the other lady was
Would
DJing.
swap. Oh, cool. Yeah.
And I just think that kind of integration is kind of really
It's
cool.
true. And it's happening, I think, also recently. Do you know the electronic artist Cobra? All of her set openers were all DJs, which makes so much sense. But yeah, it's cool to see more of that crossover there.
Yeah. I just think Romi's a good one for you to go and listen to as well.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
I think a lot of her songs have a sad tinge to them, even if they're quite.
Oh, cool. Okay, great. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check her out.
Yeah, I think there's a history of it as well. I mean, as probably more so in the UK. I don't know what
I've always admired. I always felt like music is better in the UK because maybe that's blasphemous for me to say as an American, but it just feels like
we won't tell them.
It just feels a bit more open, especially like the acts. Like I feel like Kate Bush, especially at the time, would have never happened on the same scope in America. I mean, even now, I don't even know. So, yeah, but there's so much there. It just seems like a much more experimental place.
But if you think like bands that came out with these sort of early kind of electronic stroke indie crossover, like New Order, for example.
All the new wave stuff is so cool. Yeah.
And there's infinite sadness in a lot of those songs, and yet actually everyone's at a you go to a disco, it's like
no, really. I was just thinking about Donna Summer and how like her discography is really bleak, but it's a banger. There's definitely a way to do that in a way that hits. But yeah, that's so true.
Wasn't I Feel Love? Who was that produced by? Am I thinking that it was produced by Trevor Horn, the English producer? But definitely, I think there was kind of an English influence in terms of getting that sound to be kind of dance floor. But
yes, moving at like a bridge between the two eras. Yeah,
I think that's brilliant. That's brilliant. What started you writing in the first place?
I just always, I always sang and that sort of thing, but I always kind of felt like I had, I guess, not a pop female vocal, like not very airy, light situation. And so when I found out you could produce, I just thought, I'll just try and build around my voice. And then I think that just naturally started translating there. But the first artist that like really grinded my gears as a teen was Lorde, because that when Pure Heroine came out, I was like, what, you can do this in pop music? And so that was really inspirational for me.
David Bowie said before he died, bless his cotton socks,
yes,
she was the future of music. Why do you think he said that? I mean, I've got my own feelings about it.
Yeah.
But
I think it was, if you think about like the pop landscape of the time, everything was very maximalist. And I think also harping on, what we were talking about, like the subject matter was very much like party every day, live like there's no tomorrow. And it was so refreshing to see this like young artist at like 15 come out with these really introspective, fairly minimal tracks, but also mixing that with hip hop and trap beats. I remember on one of her first tours. It was so funny because she had Run the Jewels open for her. And so I remember when I came to watch and I knew nothing about really hip hop or rap or any of that scene at that time. And I was like, why is everyone doing this at the show? But I think the best artists are the ones that really serve as bridges into other genres and influences and worlds that maybe you wouldn't come across otherwise. And I don't know, I just feel like she packages a lot of unique things together. I think she's been always very clear about what her vision is and isn't compromising in that. And also just a different representation of a female pop singer and artist that maybe like a darker side at that time, which very much appealed to me.
Yeah. And I think one of the things you mentioned there is kind of just the almost the minimalist approach, which is, I think she understood her limitations really well. And actually, I think that may have been one of the things that really appealed to Bowie as well, which was that, because I think deep down, I think Bowie really was always really aware of his limitations as an artist. He talked quite a lot about what he was good at and what he wasn't good at. And I think that's the thing that I think may have really resonated with him, which is that here was an artist that she didn't play any instruments. She didn't write her music by being a piano virtuoso or reasonable at guitar or whatever. She created voice notes of melody lines and layered stuff and built up her tracks, and then was brave enough to not necessarily go and say, right, overproduce that and give me back everything, but actually just leave it quite raw, really, which was really good.
No, I think that's definitely, I think she, in a lot of her early interviews, she talked about how she always saw herself as a writer first. And I think also just just being so deliberate with your word choice, I don't think you have to be. I think some of the best pop is the one that feels a bit mindless and fun and light and airy, but I think it was really refreshing at the time.
Yeah. I don't need to ask you the next question, which is who you'd love to support.
I
think you've answered that.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, honestly, I'm happy.
I'll just write it down
whoever.
here. Tag Lorde in on interview. Madison Square Gardens.
Oh, perfect. Right. Exactly.
Would you, in all seriousness, would you be ready for that if that happened in like a year from now? You suddenly got the call and it's like, wow.
I feel like it's an incredibly unrealistic scenario, but I think in any case, I feel like because I spent so many years, as a teen, I was like busking a lot. And, I've played in places where I was not wanted nor welcomed. So I think having that as my background, it's a lot easier now to translate to whatever stage is available to me, because it's like, okay, even if 5 people come, great, this is amazing, someone's even here, like that's just huge to me. And I don't really get too many nerves on the performance side.
Do you, I mean, you look incredibly young. I don't know how old you are, and I'm not going to ask you that question because it's incredibly rude, but do you find that people sometimes do look at you and go, well, yeah, I mean, she's just like, appeared out of nowhere, etc. She can't earn her stripes, etc. When you clearly you have.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, what, like, earn your stripes?
Yeah,
means you've as you said, you've played those gigs where no one was listening, and you've worked at this. You
Yeah,
haven't you haven't just decided to be a singer, in your bedroom 1 minute
sure.
and then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it helps that I've always produced all my music, and I was really lucky to grow up in a time where that technology was democratized. So if anybody feels that way, it's very easy for me to not feel attacked by that because I know, like, hey, I mean, I also try and remind myself, like, it's not for me, it's not about being good. I'm just here. I am a collection of all my influences as everyone else, and I am presenting that, but I'm not gonna if you don't like it or whatever, that's your prerogative. Um, but yeah,
Now the dog is always watching.
the dog.
I
This
mean,
is Spicy. This is Spicy. She's my little
spicy.
dog. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Um, how old Spicy now?
Spicy just turned 4
Right.
in March. Yep, yep. So she's a proper adult now, but yeah, she's huge companion. She has earned herself this regal portrait. So,
Yeah.
yeah, love her to
Oh,
pieces.
I love that. I love that. Where is your happy place? Where do you go other than the music? Where do you go to sort of
Mm,
like recharge and get inspiration to push on again? Because you've obviously got quite a
yeah.
lot of, when we see you on Instagram, whatever, there's a lot of energy there, etc. But anyone I know that
Mhm.
expels a lot of energy, it's like when I do these shows. If I do, I mean, like this is third recording of the day. You do 3 of
Oh,
these,
wow.
and
Yeah.
then you come out the other side of it, and it's like, and
Yeah,
people don't understand that, right? Because people
for
assume
sure.
that you're like on
Just all the time. Yeah, yeah.
all the
Mm,
time. Yeah. But
yep.
where do you get to recharge? Where's that coming?
Um, I would say I just hanging around at home. I mean, spending time with Spicy. I really like going to the park. I'm a really big tea fan, so like my favorite That's
Yeah.
something. Yes, I love tea. So my favorite thing is and they're not as common here, but in New York, I'm fortunate enough there's enough little tea shops. So I'll take myself on a little solo day. I'll bring my journal or my book. Sometimes I'll doodle, sometimes I'll read, but I love trying a tea and like a sweet treat. That's my favorite
Oh my
little
word.
thing.
Well, now,
Yeah.
so come on. Have you ever been to the UK? Have you been to the home of tea?
No, no. I had a layover in London once, but I don't think that counts really. I haven't had a proper cup of tea, but hopefully someday will get to do that.
I'm gonna tell you now a very little story, which is that prior to when I was doing this job, I used to spend a lot of my time on the road, and I used to, in my previous role, I used to go around universities actually all over the UK, but also in America as well,
Mm. Mhm.
right? And the Arts University, which is based near King's Cross in London, they have at the front of the building, they have this most amazing tea place, right?
Oh. Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
and
Yeah.
it's the best tea shop if you're watching. Hi, it's probably not even there, but it was the best tea shop I've ever been in. Have you ever been in
Wow.
a tea shop where when you choose your tea, they present you with glass jars with various different perfumes of flowers and whatever in it? Yeah, and you can choose your mix.
Oh, you can mix.
Yeah,
Wow. No, but that
yeah.
seems like an experience.
It was a
Wow.
complete experience. You can say, "Oh, I want a little bit of, a bit of chamomile in there, and I want a little
Wow.
bit of this with a little bit of lemony zest in it, and then I have
Ooh,
a bit of jasmine flower in there,
I
and
love
you
jasmine.
and
Yeah.
you mix up
Your
this
own blend.
your own blend of tea and sit there with a pot and a cup of of that.
What a perfect day.
Does
That
that sound like
seems
heaven?
It sounds remarkable. Yeah. I
Cool.
would like to experience something of the sort. That sounds so great.
If we ever get you to the UK to play, the right folks, if you're listening, the rider is that
The
Kate
rider.
Must. The
Oh,
rider.
the rider. Okay. Yes,
The
yes.
rider. Yeah. What people give you before you
Right.
play. Yeah. In the dressing room needs to be a set of little jars with different
Tea
tea
blended.
blends in it to let Kate enjoy her perfect cup of tea. I think that'd
I
be
won't accept anything less. I really
oh,
won't.
and a regal cushion for the dog,
Ooh, yes, just for spicy. Yeah.
just for spicy. What are you
Perfect.
working on at the moment?
Well, I have an EP actually coming out tonight at midnight. So there's been lots
What
of
great timing.
I know. Look at that. Bada bing, bada boom. So
That's not what it's called, by the way, folks.
no.
Bada
That's my
bing,
next
bada
record.
boom, bada bing, bada boom. You can do it, folks. Yeah. What's it called? Can we know? Can we?
Yeah, it's called Diluted is the project name. It's sort of
Diluted, like good
yeah,
tea, but not too
like
diluted.
not too much, yeah.
Mm.
In the sense that there's water.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's a
yes.
strong name. That's a really strong name. What's it
Thanks.
a reflection of? Is it a reflection of,
Yeah.
is it us as people that get diluted? Is it a message that gets diluted? Is it society that gets diluted? Is it all three?
I think it's just everything. I think when everything is so overwhelming, like our threshold of what is interesting or what connects with us, everything just goes down. And
Yeah.
I feel like that in whatever medium you practice, in however you choose to connect with people, I feel like that is a running theme at the moment.
Yeah. We how do we stop being diluted then? How do we stop that happening? What's the answer?
I think taking a bit more risks. I mean, talking about how you know, put together those wonderful little warehouse parties before where you're getting people together and you know, it's such a pain because you have to lug this huge setup. But it's also because of all the trouble and the oh man, it's like a Wednesday, I don't really want to go out, but you're gonna do it, like committing to that, taking a little risk, and putting yourself out there so that you can experience spontaneous in-person connection. I feel like I'm hoping that's where the pendulum is gonna swing.
Oh, do you know what? I think you're so right. And I have to say, I mean, I'm you know, I'm an old man now compared with you. Well, you'll never be an old man, but there you go. Yeah, experience. But the thing is, I guess like one of the things I've learned through my life is that somebody has to make it happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just doesn't you know, people, I think if I see too much of anything these days, it's people just assuming that it could, you know, it's just going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? And let's leave it up to everybody else to do it.
It's a
Doesn't
passive culture.
it doesn't work like that. Doesn't work.
Right.
Doesn't work like that, folks. If you want to
Mhm.
make something happen, you've got to make it happen. Yeah, you're right. You know, if you want to, you know, if you want to, if a gig isn't happening or like a scene isn't happening where you are or whatever, or you know, like this, if there's a podcast that isn't happening for musicians because you know there's a lot of dull podcasts out there where people ask the same questions all of the time and don't say anything intelligent, you've got two choices. You can either just go, oh well, that's what there is, let's absorb it, or you can go, no, sod it. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start my own. I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's that piece of, you know, and I do feel like we're more aware than ever of how scary the outside world can be. And I think because of that, a lot of people feel maybe disempowered or lose a lot of hope. But I think because of that, it's more important than ever to, like you said, maybe it sounds like a platitude, but really try and be the change that you want to see in the world. And just because someone has to, or it's not going to happen. Yeah.
My other company, Kate, well, the social media company that I run, Kate, is called A Better Way of Life. For that reason, for that pure reason, which is that ultimately there is an opportunity with every technology and with anything that we do. There's the dog going on. With any technology, there's an opportunity to use it to the either really good stuff or just passively kind of do what the market thinks that it needs and whatever, right?
Absolutely.
And I try and work with clients that have a massive transformational purpose, right? A massive transformational purpose which is not monetary based, but is first and foremost based around proper good change in the world that's going to achieve something for people. They need to make money as part of the process. That's fine. We all need to eat. We all need to have a roof over our head. We all need those things, but it's about where your focus is, and I just think people that come on and they go, oh yeah, social media is bad and whatever. Yeah, a lot of it is, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But what I say is it's not social media that's bad, it's people that are bad, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately these things are tools, they're mechanisms. Let's not let them be the dictators, right?
Yeah. I think that I think I very much resonate with technology is fairly neutral. Granted, there is the piece of these things have been engineered to manipulate or prioritize in a certain way. But at the end of the day, when you think about like algorithms or what people are connecting to, I think too often we distort the piece that we're just both on the other end of the screen here. So I think you're really right. And it's really important, I think, to try and fight for good. And that's so commendable what you're doing. But put out a positive influence where you can, because the bad stuff like sticks so much more, and we have a bias to remember those things so much more. So you really have to fight for good. It's not something I think it was I read like a RuPaul quote somewhere.
Love it.
But yeah, he was just talking about, like, he said something along the lines of, security and peace and happiness and serenity, all of those things, like those are hard to cultivate. And I think there's like a huge misconception that like happiness or goodness is the default, but I think it's actually something that needs to be deliberately protected and preserved and proliferated. And so, yeah, I think that's really amazing what you're doing.
Thank you. I think it's really amazing what you're doing too. Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate that together. Kate,
Woo!
It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. The time has just flown by.
It has, yeah.
Like that.
Just
oh
like that.
My word.
My goodness.
You need another bite of
yeah, thank you.
There's another
so
one.
Nourished.
Folks, if you've been listening, do check out Kate's music. Midnight tonight or whenever this goes out. I'm going to try and get this out tonight now so that people hear it beforehand.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
You can go and check out Diluted.
Diluted.
It's not diluted at all. It's the purest form of beautifulness. But it will be its title is diluted.
It's true.
And you can check that out, and you can check Kate's music out. Please do follow her on the Instagram and whatever as well. And stop. I say this all the time to listeners. When you've listened to somebody's music and you like it and whatever, stop and tell them. It's just because this is part of the diluted thing as well.
Yeah.
We live in a world now where it's like, because everything is essentially feels free, anything that's digital feels free. It's so easy just to consume and go, yeah, I like that.
Yep.
Right. Well,
it stops there. Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on a minute. You know, if you dug a hole in a garden and planted a tree and watered it and made it all and spent ages putting rocks around it and made it all look beautiful, and then someone came home and went, you know, like that, and didn't say even thank you to you, not a peep to it, or just looked at it and went, you know, you'd feel peeved off, wouldn't you? And rightly so. And so musicians go into studios, they spend hours, they write this stuff, they produce it, they then have to slog away at getting you to find it on social media and all of that malarkey. The least you can do is stop and say, I was touched by that, thank you very much. Because you know what, that makes everything really worthwhile. There we go.
It's very true. And I think that rule can apply to everything in general. You know, it's not just
everything in life.
Yeah.
Everything, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I love saying thank you for things. And I think it's a great habit that we should get into. Even like, you know, when you get on a bus and then someone takes you on a bus journey and then, you know, stop. I always
get there safely. Yeah.
Right. I think, you know, when people just get off and get on and whatever, it's like, well, I paid for it, you know.
It's taken for granted. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't take people for granted, folks. That's the lesson of today's interview with Kate. And if we can all take away something from that, that'd be marvelous. Folks, go and check out Kate's music. Please do stream it. Save her songs to your playlist. Follow, because that's really important. Stop and say hello to her on the socials and say how much you enjoy her music and what it means to you, because all of that matters as well. And if you've enjoyed this, please do go and share it with other people so they get to hear about Kate. I don't care about myself really, but Kate, I mean, you know, and all of the talent that comes on, please do go and share. If you haven't enjoyed the last 38 minutes, then I'm sorry. I've wasted your life for 38 minutes. You're never getting it back. It's tough. But you know what you've got to take home from that is that sometimes pain teaches us things, and maybe you've learned something.
There you go.
There's your value.
There it is.
Even if you didn't like it. Until next time. Bye for now.